No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. With Dave Manouk, with Ezra Ginsburg, I am your host, Drew Mandel, talking about tonight's 5-1 victory by the Winnipeg Jets over the Chicago Blackhawks. Gentlemen, I have to say, I'm not at all confident in my prediction that the Blackhawks are going to be a playoff team.
The Blackhawks looked great tonight, boys. Like, I think they really have, a bright future ahead of them. I think they're going to be, a force to be reckoned with in that Central Division. No, let's be honest. At times tonight, I mean, the Blackhawks looked like an ECHL team. Like, the Jets just, I mean, they could have probably had 4 goals or 5 goals in that first period, and the game was pretty much over, 2 minutes and 23 seconds into this game. And then, it looked like, Chicago might get back into it. But no, this is a really bad team. I can't believe anybody would ever, pick them to be a playoff team, right, Drew? But, you wonder, does this team even have an identity right now? Because the way they played for big chunks of this game, guys, like the Jets controlled so many different areas of this game, except for the Mackenzie Entwistle shorthanded goal. But let's be honest, it's a 4-1 game at that point. Nobody in that building, thought that the Jets were going to lose that one, or at the very least, nobody was, biting their nails there. So like this team, we know they only have 1 win. It's pretty incredible that we're, 10 games into the season. I forget if, Chicago's played 10 games or 11 games or whatever, but they only have 1 win. So
this was their 12th game, in fact. So you
there
were,
you go.
You were wrong on all three
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I mean,
they're a bad hockey team.
Exactly. I mean, you got to give the Jets full marks. Like, we'll get into, the goals, and there were definitely, a few goals came for the Jets. Andrew Kopp had a fantastic game. I mean, Dubois, Connor, Svechnikov, they continued their strong play. I thought Scheifele, Lowry, and Wheeler looked a lot better as a line, even though, we're not expecting those 3 to stay together for very much longer. Dave and I were talking about this in the press box. I mean, you just switch out Scheifele and Stastny. Like, that's what's going to happen eventually. And then you go Scheifele, Ehlers, Kopp. Ehlers was fantastic. They kept showing his family in the crowd. So, I mean, this was a really good hockey team beating a poor hockey team. Sometimes you can just, boil it down to that, guys. Like the Blackhawks, with the exception of a few nice little rushes and the 1 goal, I mean, they weren't in this hockey game.
No, it was like you said, Ezzy. This game was over, 2 minutes and 23 seconds in. It's not like this is an anomaly for the Blackhawks. Most of their games this year, they're getting scored on very quickly, down a couple goals within the first 5 minutes of the game. And you're just trying to climb a mountain, and that's an impossible mountain to climb night in and night out. So, I mean, it's clearly a franchise in – that's funny, Kenny.
I was thinking about that. During the game.
It's clearly a franchise in disarray off the ice, given, the news of the past few weeks. It's a franchise that's in disarray on the ice, given that they certainly looked like they were playing to get Jeremy Colleton fired as their head coach. If it wasn't for Marc-Andre Fleury, the score in this game is what? 8-1, 9-1. I mean, he had a number of nice saves, that kept the score. Well, it wasn't even respectful, but that kept the score from being even more of a laugher. And the Jets needed a win like this. I mean, look, the Jets, it's hard to nitpick, to be perfectly honest. They've won. They've got points in their last 8 games. They're 6-2-2 in their first 10 games of the year. That is certainly taking care of business. Everyone said at the beginning of the year, look, their schedule was soft to start, and they needed to come out with a good start, and they have. This is the best 10-game stretch to start the season of Jets 2.0. So that is, they get full marks for that, and they're doing it without, Scheifele and Wheeler contributing, which I think people would have said you're crazy if that was going to be the reality. And with Eric Comrie, starting 3 of those 10 games, who would have thought that was going to happen either? look, things are going very well for the Winnipeg Jets right now. They're feeling good about themselves. Just as good as everything's going for the Jets on the ice, it's just that bad for the Chicago Blackhawks off the ice. And you saw, to your point, Ezzy, a team in absolute disarray in tonight's contest, a team that wasn't ready to play the game, didn't do anything to really, push back. I thought they were better in the first maybe 10 minutes of the second period. Took the Jets a while to get a shot in that second period, but to the same effect, the Jets kept everything to the outside, so it wasn't like they were being peppered with high danger chances. It was one-sided. It was a upper echelon team against a lower echelon team, and for the first time this year, I would say the Jets really dominated a game they were supposed to dominate.
Yeah, I agree with Phyllis. Sorry, Dave. I was just going to say Comrie was solid. Didn't need to stop 40 saves or anything like that, but stop 40 pucks, I should say. But he was just good. He only lets in the one goal, and we obviously have to talk about a little bit about at least Ryan Carpenter's disallowed goal. Like that was a key part of the game.
Yeah, that's a turning point.
They didn't have any business, being in that game at that point, as we talked about. I mean, 2-0 was really flattering the Blackhawks there, but that's obviously our boy Matt Prefontaine, makes the call, and he's never wrong. That's his job, right? As Ken Wiebe reminded me up in the press box. But you're right, Drew. I mean, they were in it for a little bit of this game, but I realized Seth Jones, he picked up, I think, his 10th assist of the season. I really like Seth Jones, but that top pair of Jones and DeHaan, they did not look good tonight.
Calvin DeHaan gives up the. I mean, it ultimately doesn't matter in the course of the game, but it was Calvin DeHaan's. Look, you're not going to succeed making breakout passes from your own zone, trying to hit a guy at center ice, and that's where Ehlers jumped off the bench, intercepted the puck, and came in and wired it through Marc-Andre Fleury. Everything about the Blackhawks was just befuddling, I would say. There's just no flow to what they're trying to do. And a good hockey team like the Jets, Dave, takes advantage of that. And that's what they did. You have an opponent who doesn't have any confidence, doesn't really have anything to their game that, to Ezzy's point, an identity. You jump on them, and the Jets really squeezed the life out of them nice and quickly in tonight's contest.
I was muted there, Drew, because I was trying to get some of the comments up. I didn't want people to have to be hearing the pitter-patter of my fingers. First of all, let's just focus in on Eric Comrie, though, right? I mean, and again, it's a remarkable thing to think that Eric Comrie, 3 wins, 3 games in your last 4 starts. And again, it's interesting because, people are talking in the chat about whether it'll be Eric Comrie or Mikhail Burden. We don't know about Connor Hellebuck yet. He's under the weather, negative for COVID, but he hasn't been feeling great. And we'll see what happens tomorrow with him.
What about 11 and 8, Dave? Can maybe see that.
But Paul Maurice in his comments this morning, and the reason I'm bringing this up is just because it was one of the things he talked about was he said, depending on the load, it's not something that we'd be adverse to seeing. So it'll be interesting if Connor Hellebuck isn't able to go. If they go, I mean, think about it. What did he end up with? Like 17 shots on goal? He wasn't overtaxed.
It wasn't a lot.
He wasn't overtaxed by
18 to be 18.
Okay, so 18 shots
and only 9 total in the last 40 minutes of the game.
Right. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they shot 5 of those 9 in the first 7 minutes of the second period. So, because they were out shooting them 5-0 to start. But anyways, I just think it's another feather in his cap, and talk about the confidence that you have, the team has in them. And, you heard it from the players, but now you're getting those wins. And, they said, what do you need from a backup goaltender? 10 wins, 12 wins or something like that. Well, he's already got 3. And, if you would have told people that Eric Comrie was going to play 30% of the first 10 games, I don't know how many people would have believed you. Right?
Yeah. And win all of them.
And again, you're not playing, quote, the upper echelon teams, but you have to beat the teams that are in front of you. And this is giving Eric Comrie an opportunity to feel confident and comfortable in his skin. And we're just seeing that. And I'm not going to say I'm surprised, because I've been, on the Eric Comrie bandwagon for quite some time.
Yeah.
But
you're the engineer of that train.
Well, I saw him enough in the AHL to know that he would, like I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but what did I say in the summer?
Yeah, you're right. No, yeah.
He had the role.
Mm-hmm.
He had the role essentially because of the cap situation. But like I said, if the team shows confidence in him, I think he'll reward them by being sustainable in that position. And so we'll see. And again, like I said, it's a whole season to go. But so far early on, the returns on Eric Comrie for this team to spell off Connor Hellebuck when they need him has been massive. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they use him, but we'll see what happens with Connor Hellebuck tomorrow.
Yeah, and we won't know that until closer to later tomorrow afternoon, because there is no game day skate tomorrow for the Winnipeg Jets, given that it is a back-to-back situation. So you can stay tuned to our website. What's that website, Dave M?
A little site called illegalcurve.com.
There you go. Illegalcurve.com will have the latest news with regard to the Winnipeg Jets roster. Probably the game at 6, you'll probably find out around 4:30 is usually when Paul Maurice will meet with the media tomorrow to talk about the lineup ahead of the contest. And it's a much different contest tomorrow against the New York Islanders. And we'll talk about that a little bit later during tonight's post-game show. We say good evening to everybody for joining us. Nice to see so many new faces, so many familiar faces here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. Dave Manouk's in the top right, Ezzy's in the bottom middle. I am your host, Drew Mindell. If you're new here, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll get alerted each and every time we go live with the Illegal Curve post-game show or the Illegal Curve hockey show. That's coming up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., celebrating 11 years of Saturday morning hockey coverage here in Winnipeg. And of course, smash the like button as well if you haven't yet done so you can that helps with the algorithm, as they like to say here on the YouTube channel.
I like to say that.
You like to say that.
Taking it back to the Sports Radio 1290 days there, Drew, because when we started, it wasn't even TSN 1290 yet.
You're right, Ezra. It wasn't. It was way back to Sports Radio 1290, 11 years ago tomorrow. We'll talk more about that on Saturday's
2
Illegal
weddings
Curve
ago
hockey show.
And 4 children ago, right, Drew?
Yes, and for the record, those are. It's not like one of us got married twice. You got married once. I got married once. We didn't marry each other, but things have changed over the time. And the
amount of time that Dave M and I are spending together, like
that's true. You guys are common law there.
Yeah,
you and Dave are common law.
As he actually has homestead rights in my house, so
yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. You can bring Ezzy and Dave up on polygamy charges, but you don't really have to do that if you don't want to. Let's get started talking about the opening goal. Paul Stastny gets his 4th of the year. He comes 47 seconds into the game, and just a fantastic pass from Andrew Kopp. And that it was a bit of a theme during tonight's contest, as he had 3 assists. Just Andrew Kopp we're going to talk about it on tomorrow's show. What did you name him in the press box?
I was calling him Cha-ching because he gets 3 assists. He's already entering this game, he was already a point per game, right? So just incredible. And the thing is, like, we've talked a lot about Kopp over the years, but he just continues to impress. And the whole kind of question heading into the season was, is Kopp going to be on that third line with Adam Lowry? And we talked about possibly Christian Vesalainen, who obviously hasn't factored in there, but he's thriving. And I think going back to what we said before, I don't think many people will be surprised if Scheifele gets moved up and then the line is Kopp, Scheifele, and Ehlers. Not saying that that's going to be the line for the whole year, but I mean, the way Kopp is playing, and it's not, I think his ability to kill penalties or to win faceoffs, to play both wing and center, like he's making plays. Like these are plays that you're used to seeing from Nick Ehlers or Mark Scheifele, right? Like the pass to Dominic Toninato to me was probably even more impressive than the pass to Paul Stastny, right? And I realized, like, I forget which defenseman it was on Chicago. It kind of hit somebody a little bit, but it was a hard, crisp pass to Toninato. And, Toninato looked like Wayne Gretzky there. You're like, good for him. He's not a guy that's, scored a lot of NHL goals. So, just gets rewarded for, hard work. So yeah, Kopp was unbelievable. And, I think his AAV just continues to climb with, each goal and each assist that he gets.
Yeah, I mean he's
his future AAV, I should say, Drew.
Yeah, his future AAV. He's fit in seamlessly in the Winnipeg Jets top 6, and there's no reason to think that he can't be a consistent figure in that top six for the Winnipeg Jets right now. I mean, and so it's 1-0 before the game, before anybody's really been able to sit down in their seats in the game. And then, it takes less than 2 minutes later, it's Neil Pionk and, on the power play. I mean, it's just a disaster of a start for the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, it's hard enough to play. Look, I don't care if you're playing the Arizona Coyotes, who are conceivably the worst, we're expected to be the worst team in the league at the beginning of the year.
I don't know, Drew. I think Chicago's going to give them a run for their money.
I said at the beginning of the year, if you're down 2-0 before the game's 2.5 minutes old, you're just you have no. It's such you're just dog paddling to survive for the next 57 minutes, and you can't do it. You can't do it night in, night out. I mean, Neil Pionk gets his first of the year, and it's a great shot by Pionk. Assist to Connor and Kopp on it, and he just comes down from the point, and it's a power play, and he just fires a shot. Picks a corner, nice play, relatively routine, I would say. Wasn't anything that's going to make any highlight reels, but it's a skilled offensive player, Dave, doing what he's supposed to do against a bad opponent.
Well, Ezzy and I rewatched the goal a couple of times, and one of the things that was noteworthy was it was like the parting of the Red Seas. The Hawks defense, especially on the kill, just gave him time and space. They backed off of Pionk. And then I don't remember which defenseman totally provided a screen for Pionk. It was like a comedy of errors. And, they capitalized, and, he scores his first of the year, and I thought he and Brendan Dillon actually looked a lot better. And I guess you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, given the fact that you're playing against Chicago, who just looked completely disconnected for most part, at least to my mind, for most of that game. I thought it just didn't look like they had it. They got it going a little bit in the second when they had the benefit of the Blake Wheeler penalty at the end of the first period that they kind of brought into the second. When Drew's grinning like that, I'm always worried. I see Drew grinning, I know he's about to there's some sort of text, some sort of thing that he's doing right there.
Our buddy Frank Zappia in the chat commented on the fact of Zappia Group Realty, official realtor of Illegal Curve Hockey, commented that I was using my hands to talk. And I'm just typing back to Frank. It's like, how long have you known me? How long have you guys been watching us here? I guess since what? When did we start this? February? Here on YouTube? Yes, I talk with my hands. It's not. It's
Should
not
we start calling you the Maestro, Drew?
You can start calling me.
No. We're gonna keep him to his previous nickname, Skippy.
It can be Skippy too.
Maestro Fresh West, Drew. That's what we'll call you.
Anyways,
good former Canadian, not former. I mean, he's still alive. Canadian rapper from back in the 90s.
Yes.
Let your backbone slide. You know what I'm talking about here? Maestro Fresh West.
Yes, of course.
We know the song. I mean, I'm not sure why you're talking about it, but that's okay. Keep going, Dave. You are making a good point.
Anyways, the point is that they looked like a disconnected hockey team. They didn't have it. And look, they came out a little bit in the second. And as he mentioned it, as did you, Drew, Matty Prefontaine deserves a lot of credit because you know what? He spots the offside, and that call goes from a 2-0 game to a 2-1 game. So the truth is that a game that really shouldn't have been that close. I mean, if you think about it, they were out shooting the Jets. What was it, like 13-8, I think, or 13-9?
Yeah, I mean,
at one point in the second. So it could have been a little bit of a different game.
Well, you saw the sag. I mean,
yeah.
To your point, that goal doesn't get counted. It gets called off, on the offside, and you just saw immediately there was no further pushback from Chicago. That was really, you could absolutely see that was the end of the game as far as they were concerned. They the goal doesn't count, and before you know it, I mean, the Jets were on their heels at that point,
right?
In the second period. I mean, maybe not dramatically on their heels, but they were being outplayed, I would say, to that point of the second period. The goal doesn't count. The power play ends, and the Jets score a couple minutes later, and it's 4-0. When there's still 5 minutes to go in the second period. That was absolutely, when you're a fragile team and something doesn't go your way, that's what happens. And the Jets, to their credit, took advantage of that fragility of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, and one other thing I'd throw in there, I realized this didn't really have any impact on the game because the Jets were already up 4-0, but I thought Dylan Strome's cross-check on Ehlers was, first off, I could easily see that being more serious, like a major.
On Morrissey. I just thought it was on Morrissey.
What did I say, Ehlers?
Ehlers, yeah.
Yeah, I meant to say Morrissey there.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really dangerous, and I thought it was indicative of a team that was just frustrated and just completely demoralized. Like, you nailed it, Drew. Like, some hockey games, a goal is disallowed and it isn't the turning point in a game. And you can't, I always say this, like, there isn't one turning point in a game. I don't think you can, sometimes there is, but most times you can't really necessarily point to, one power play or, one missed call. But in this particular instance, like, Chicago came into this game having the fourth fewest goals for of any team in the league. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they've given up the second most goals. So it shouldn't be any surprise if you factor that in, that the Jets won 5-1. They don't score a lot of goals and they give up a lot of goals, but their special teams are actually pretty good. I think their PK is like 5th in the league or something. So it shouldn't be that much of a surprise that Mackenzie Entwistle scored that goal shorthanded. But look, this was a clinic that was put on by the Jets here. When you have guys like Connor and Ehlers and Dubois just absolutely flying around and basically doing whatever they wanted, it was really, I think, just a display, guys, of how much skill, high-end skill that the Jets have. And obviously, when you play a team like St. Louis, who the Jets are obviously, competing with for first in the Central, you're not going to have, that much time out there. Like we talked about on the second Jets goal where Pionk, I mean, that was just terrible penalty killing. I mean, it's like my dad used to say, he had enough time to make a sandwich, right? Like, it was incredible, how much room he had there. And, full marks to Pionk. It was a beauty, top shelf, top cheddar shot. But Chicago's defense, it's just a bad team. Like, and obviously, they'll get some more wins. I mean, they're not going to finish, 1-80, but I think, you had a lot higher hopes for this team. And Marc-Andre Fleury, for most of the game, seemed like the only guy that was really, trying out there and giving 100%. Because
you saw a goalie there. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury, you saw the frustration, and you can't really fault him for having it, boil over in. I mean, he's always been an emotional goalie. He's always a goalie who wears his emotions on his sleeve, for better or worse. But I don't remember exactly at what point in time it was, if the score was 3-0 or 4-0 at that point. I think it was still 3-0. And he made a nice save, and he froze the puck, and then he just batted it away. And you don't typically see that kind of reaction from a goaltender. It was just his way of just, demonstrating the frustration. And you saw after the 4-0 goal, I don't think he actually two-handed the post with his stick, but he certainly wound up that he was about to, and then thought better of it.
That's vintage Fleury, Drew. You're right.
I know it is.
When he smokes that stick on the post, we saw that so many times when he was a member of the Penguins. But you're right. I mean, he probably was thinking to himself, like, guys, are you going to play some defense in front of me here? Like, Dave's right. Like, there was a little bit of a push there, in the early part of the second period, and then the rest of the game, like, it was pretty pathetic, actually, to watch the Blackhawks. The last couple minutes of the third period, like, it just looked like a team that, was ready to hit the showers. So, I mean, Jeremy Colleton, I think, is a good hockey coach, but, you wonder, like, is he on the hot seat here? Like, this one win in 12 games. Like, I think that's not acceptable.
I think the only thing he's got going for him is that the organization itself is in disarray. So is there a leadership void in the organization that is going to make that call? Because he certainly didn't have any answers in terms of on ice strategy. And certainly when you give up 2 goals in the first 2.5 minutes, you don't have the team ready to play at puck drop, and that falls on the coach. When it's night in and night out as a problem, that falls on the coaching. So the only thing that I think that might be his salvation for a little while is just that the entire organization is in a state of upheaval right now, and that could explain to some extent the on ice performance. I mean, where was Patrick Kane tonight? I mean,
was he playing?
Kane, like, I mean,
I'm not even joking.
I checked the game sheet.
He was interested in the game.
Well, I checked the game sheet after 40 minutes because I was like, is he on the COVID list? Because I knew he had been on the COVID list, and I wasn't sure if he was still on the COVID list or not. And I'm like, oh no, and I know it's not the be all and end all of a stat, but after 40 minutes, he was a -3, and he ended the game a -3. And frankly, he had no contribution to the game at all.
He played 18 minutes, Drew, and 53 seconds, which is the most. Not only did he played more than any other forward on the team.
Which is to me insane, Dave, because Patrick Kane, who is a all-world player, still an all-world player, just clearly didn't want to be on the ice tonight and had no performance, and I'm not sure if that's it's certainly a combination of the Jets doing a good job against them, because the Jets get credit for their victory, but at the same time, Patrick Kane has made a lot of good teams and a lot of good defenses look foolish in his career, and today he had nothing. He contributed nil to the Chicago Blackhawks efforts tonight.
Maybe the Hawks were coming into Winnipeg and expecting a cold November day, and they were surprised by the unseasonably warm weather. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's thrown them into a chaotic, tailspin. Because, yeah, I mean, I think I said that to Ezzy at one point in the press box. I said, "Have you seen Kane at all tonight? Like, he just wasn't visible, and he's so talented." I mean, one of the comments were.
This is a funny comment from Jeff. Which Kane are we talking about? Patrick or Evander? They both might be missing.
Well, one of the comments earlier was that he had a hat trick against the Sens, and he's still a very talented player. He just wasn't visible in tonight's game. I don't know that any Hawks players were visible, other than unfortunately Marc-Andre Fleury, who if not for him, as Ezzy said, it could have been as Ezzy predicted in advance of the game starting, as we were walking into the building. He goes, well, this is probably going to be an 8-1 Jets score. 5-1, he was off by 3, but, if Marc-Andre Fleury doesn't play that way, it probably would have been in that 8-1 realm, because Chicago just didn't look like they had it. And I think, again, we're going to go back to it. The key was the overturned goal. I think that probably was the turning point in killing this team. But, yeah, it did look like the Jets were able to impose their will quite a bit throughout the course of the game, and the pairings, I thought the defensive pairings were working. And again, you'll see what a rested Islanders team who have been in Winnipeg and watching the game and will have been rested after they played, I think, last night, right? And so you've got an Islanders team that will be ready to go. Barry Trotz is without question off in Manitoba, of course, and one of the best coaches in the NHL. Bar none.
One of the best coaches of all time.
Yeah, for sure. And like top 3, I would think, in the NHL right now. And we'll see. He'll have his team ready, and that'll be a big test for this Winnipeg Jets team. So you're not going to get an easy match tomorrow night. So you're going to see what happens with this Jets club. But yeah, no, I think that they did what they needed to do, which is go up against the Chicago team that isn't very good, which has 1 win so far this season. And didn't look like a very good team. So you went, you beat them, you get points for literally and figuratively for doing what you needed to do and having your team feeling good. Nikolai Ehlers having his family there and scoring that goal. You could see our photographer, Alex James, took a phenomenal series of pictures, which I posted on the Illegal Curve Instagram. And you can go there and check it out. #NoBigDeal. And although that's not one of the hashtags I use, for the record, but it's a phenomenal picture, and it's kind of funny. Like I used, Ezzy, what was the quote I used from the bowling guy?
Who do you think you are? I am.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but I mean, you could see it. There was a lot of elation in Nikolai Ehlers, face scoring that goal.
Yeah.
Which, for the record, for those who like the historical records, moved him into a tie with Andrew Ladd for 7th on the all-time franchise goals list with 139. One ahead of Kyle Connor, who has 138.
Now, somebody's been reading their game notes.
No, those are my own game notes. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's right. Dave does his own pregame research.
Please,
I forgot.
Please,
yeah.
Come on.
Sorry, my mistake. Please forgive me for
shout out to Gregor and Scott
daring to insult you by accusing you of not doing your own pregame research. Pregame reading, yes. Pregame research, a little bit questionable there.
I was reading Chatelaine.
Yeah, I'm sure you were, Ezzy. That's good. You're catching up on some of your
great article
home and gardening tips.
Yeah, well, I need those types of tips. Like I need those types of hacks in my life.
Well, there are people wondering why you're wearing a suit or why you're wearing a tie, and that's because you guys
I was in court today.
Yeah, you were in court today. The case has been laid over for a couple of weeks, so we'll have you still on the show for a little while before the bail gets revoked.
Hey, but, I know so many Manuks and Pollocks. Like I'm good. I'm covered.
There you go.
Got a good legal team behind me.
For the record, Dave and Ezzy were in the press box for tonight's game. Now they're back at Dave's house, and Dave changed clothes, and Ezzy surprisingly doesn't yet have a set of clothes at Dave's house.
Kind of think I really thought he would be a change of clothes here, because as soon as we get in, we only missed like the first minute, it's such a good time for anybody that, is considering, like, I mean, why would you pay for a ticket and then leave after 2 periods? But I mean, you can always watch the game at home, but the traffic is so light.
Yeah,
I mean, it took us like 10 minutes to get from downtown to River Heights. So maybe I will start, bringing a change of clothes so I can, look nice and comfy like Dave M.
Dave, how does that feel to you? The idea of Ezzy keeping clothes in your house?
It's a very scary thought, but you know what? Like I said, I'm fairly certain he's got homestead rights at this point, so it's all good.
I'll tell you
what. If there's a toothbrush, Drew, then we're really going to be in trouble. Like if I, just start bringing my own, Sensodyne or whatever, then we could run into a few issues there. But I think having an extra pair of trousers, wouldn't hurt.
We're going to go down this rabbit hole, but I really regret asking the question. Do you use Sensodyne? Do you have a sensitive teeth problem?
No, I don't use. No, I'm a Crest guy.
Okay. Dave, Crest or Colgate? Maybe Aquafresh?
No, neither. I'm actually switched to, I think it's Arm & Hammer. It's like a charcoal based.
I've used Arm & Hammer before.
Yeah, it's good. It tastes like crap, but it's better for your teeth.
And my kids use Coco Melon. It's the Coco Melon branded toothpaste. Is what they like.
And the segue is official. It's probably
there we go. I said I was going to regret it, and I definitely
know what I'm
regretted
talking about here. Okay, you've got a couple of kids. You know what you're doing.
I do know what I'm doing. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll give away some prizes because we have to do that.
We got lots.
We got what? We got stuff from our good friends at Seagram's. I saw we got some Fireball and some other merchandise like that. We got bagels. We have a Tough Duck toque. What do we have? Anything else?
I feel like I'm living a dream right now. This has always been my dream to give away bagels and Fireball whiskey.
Well, that's because your diet for a lot of years was basically bagels and Fireball whiskey. So, it's come full circle is what's happened there. Stay with us. Much more to come. We're going to talk about tomorrow night's contest as well. Tomorrow's Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Much more to come. Stay in the chat. Prizes, fun, commercials.
Smash the like button.
Smash the like button. And we'll talk about our IC merchandise on the way back as well. You're listening to the Illegal Curve post-game show with Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, and Ezra Ginsburg.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
Whoa, Ezzy, why are you so happy?
I just crushed 2 fresh Bagelsmith bagels with schmear. They're open on Jets home game nights until puck drop.
Didn't you have Bagelsmith for lunch too?
Yes, I did. What's your point?
Come on, Bagel Boy, let's go to the game.
Bagelsmith is Winnipeg's first and only Montreal-style bagel shop located at 185 Carlton Street. Visit bagelsmith.ca.
He winds up. Oh! Looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Boston Pizza, the perfect place for a drink. Or the new pickle pizza. Across from this guy, who's getting his fill of some classic cactus cut nachos. Next to some hockey fans that just saw a nasty OT winner. Boston Pizza. Enjoy some... What? Look at that guy. Just having a soak, eh? You do you. Enjoy some old fall favorites and some new ones, however you like, at Boston Pizza.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Are back on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show Friday night. little bit after 10 p.m. Thanks to so many of you for joining us. The Winnipeg Jets victors tonight, 5-1 over the Chicago Blackhawks. It was a bit of a laugher. Maybe a lot of a laugher. That's up to a matter of opinion. But in any event, here we are talking about the game nonetheless. Couple reminders. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we're going to be back here with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, getting you set for tomorrow night's Jets-Islanders game, looking back a little bit more on tonight's game and the entire week that was for the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to talk about the next contracts for Andrew Kopp and Pierre-Luc Dubois. Can the Jets afford them both? Much to talk about tomorrow morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. So come back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. It's our 11th anniversary. 11 years ago tomorrow, we debuted Saturday morning on then Sports Radio 1290. Still going strong 11 years into this gig, or more than 11 years because we were on Kick FM before that, but you know what I'm saying. And again, tomorrow night, the Illegal Curve post-game show following the Jets and the Islanders.
Early start. Here. Let's not forget about that. 6 o'clock Central.
That's right. It's a Saturday night, a regular Saturday night start. So back here around 8:30, 8:40, give or take a few minutes for another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. So hopefully you're not sick of us by then, because we got lots of content coming your way all day tomorrow, in addition to some Manitoba Moose coverage. Dave, while Ezzy is gathering up some victors of some contest winners, why don't you give us the Minuk Moose Minute for the Manitoba Moose? They were in action tonight in Milwaukee. So hang on. This is the Minuk Moose Minute. The Minuk Moose Minute in Milwaukee. Okay, got it.
Quite the intro. I like it, and it's better than some of the names that have been suggested. But hey, we'll do what we got to do. But yeah, the Moose were.
You're the original 3M.
Okay, I will take that if that's going to be my. Well,
you are an innovator, Dave. So
all right, sure, I appreciate that. Thanks, boys. Anyways, point is, Moose kicked off a 6-game road trip. They've got a 3-3 starting tonight in Milwaukee. And they went up against an Admirals team that they are going to be playing 5 of the next 9 games. Started off down 1-0 early, and then it was a trio of Moose prospects, got them back in it. Johnny Kovacevic got his second goal of the year, assists from Ville Heinola and David Gustafsson. So it was a trifecta of Moose draft picks, a 1, a 2, and a 3 to tie the game. The Moose had a chance late in the game on a 5-on-3 in the third period, but they couldn't do it. Arvid Holm got his second start for Manitoba. And then unusually, and we, of course, were watching the Jets game, so I had to look at this after. They lost they did stop a 2-0, but he wasn't able to stop a penalty shot. So the rare penalty shot in overtime, and that gave the Milwaukee Admirals the win. So the Moose lost in OT. The prospects got going again. Christian Vesalainen, he was back in the lineup. That was his AHL season debut for Manitoba. So now I'm getting distracted by the comments. This is the problem. I love the chat, but sometimes every once in a while I'm like, what? Anyway, so yeah, no, the Moose.
Every now and then there's an idea so horrific that it stops you dead in your tracks. And Gerald just hit it by putting up on the screen. Is Ezzy just going to spend the night at Dave's since you guys go online first thing in the morning?
Let's put it this way: there's not much that can get me to stop me from talking about the Manitoba Moose. Yeah. That's a comment. I was like, Gerald, whoa, easy, Gerald. Let's
tap the brakes a little bit.
Well, anyway, so the point is that the Moose did lose in overtime, and they are going to continue the road trip. And like I said, they've got a 3-on-3. Be interesting to see what happens with the Moose, right? Same as what happens with the Jets. If Connor Hellebuck is back, they're going to send. Obviously they're going to send Burden down to. I want to say they're playing in Chicago tomorrow, then Rockford on Sunday. Yeah, Chicago tomorrow, then Rockford on Sunday. So, we could see Arvid Holm in net again, or we may see Mikhail Burden if he can get there in time.
There you
Pretty
go.
Crazy. I'm just going to say, we were talking about this, as we were walking into Canada Life Center, the Moose have got Philip DeRosier, right?
Yeah.
As their backup right now. But it'd be really interesting to see how they coordinate this, because, there's a chance that I guess Hellebuck will if he's healthy, he'll start tomorrow just because Comrie started tonight, right? But it'd be amazing to see how quickly are you able to get Mikhail Burden, out to you said Chicago is the next game, right?
It's an easy flight.
Not easy.
Well, it's actually not, because there's no direct flights from Winnipeg to Chicago yet.
Right.
Because United is not flying to Chicago from Winnipeg yet.
Really?
So, truly. So you'll have to fly you'll have to take.
It's almost like I haven't flown on a plane in 18 months.
I've been looking at flights, and you'll have to get to, I guess, Minneapolis, or you'll have to go get rerouted through Chicago,
just ask
Toronto,
Ezzy.
or something.
Ezzy
Come on,
can do
Drew,
it.
have you been looking at flights to be the backup goaltender for the Moose? Is that what
It's
you're
true.
looking for?
They've asked me. They've seen my floor hockey prowess, and they want me to come in and
You
be
were
the
a
backup
good floor
goaltender.
hockey goaltender.
Thank
I
you.
will back you up on that one. We played, some Jewish floor hockey together, and we had some good times. We're up on the wall of fame there at the Rady. We're obviously not on the wall of fame of Rady, but it's just incredible. Like, we kind of make our jokes about, e-bugs, right? Like back in the day, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago with Scott Foster? It might have been longer than that. And then David Ayres and everything like that. But like, it's the reality, right? Because you only, travel with a couple of goaltenders. No, unless you have, a goaltender that is not in your active roster, right? So it's pretty incredible. And hopefully, Hellebuck is ready to go tomorrow. We should mention it's not COVID related. So, it might just be, he's been staying up a little later with his wife and newborn, right? But, we know it's not going to be something long-term. So if Hellebuck isn't ready to go for tomorrow night against the Islanders, then he should be good to go for Tuesday night against the Blues. But it sounds like, it's looking pretty good for Hellebuck to play tomorrow.
Well, we shall see. We'll know more, like we said, later tomorrow. There is no game day skate, so we'll find out just as soon as we can have that information. We will report it on illegalcurve.com. Want to make mention, Ezzy, while you get your prize winners together, I want to make mention of the fact that Illegal Curve merchandise is still for sale up until tomorrow. It's not that it's up for sale up until tomorrow, but if you want to get your order, receive your order by the end of November, you have to get your order in by tomorrow. So if you
11:59 p.m.
11:59
Run,
p.m.
Drew,
tomorrow,
don't walk. Run to your order.
Or just type it into your web browser. You don't even have to leave your couch right now. You'll see the ticker on the bottom of the screen, iclockerroom.logoshop.com, or you can always
access short
it.
URL.
Yes, exactly. Or you can access it through our Illegal Curve website. Click on the merchandise button and you'll get there yourself. Again, if you haven't yet ordered, do so by 11:59 p.m. tomorrow. November 6th is the deadline to receive all of your stuff in time for the end of November. Maybe an early Christmas gift for somebody that you love in your family and you want them to dress like myself or Dave or Ezzy. That's what you can do via the Illegal Curve merchandise shop, the Illegal Curve shopping center. So get your Illegal Curve merch before the end of the day tomorrow.
Well, it's an early Hanukkah this year, guys. Hanukkah starts November 27th, and we've got Diwali, so happy Diwali to everybody out there as well. But yeah, Christmas isn't that far off. It's only a month and a half away. So make sure you get the toque. Make sure you pick up the the Illegal Curve bathrobe and the Illegal Curve toothbrush and everything like that. The Illegal Curve pencil sharpener. Make sure you get all of your Illegal Curve stuff at iclockerroom.logoshop.com. I'm obviously joking about the pencil sharpener and the what else did I say there? I do think
I stopped listening to you, so I
do think we should have an IC velour robe. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, that could be next. That could be next. Just to answer Renee's question, you just have to email Steve at the.
I think Steve will get in touch with you when you place your order.
No. But in advance, if you have a question about it, if you want to know the call, stuff like that, you can just email and you guys can figure that out, and he'll fill you in on all the shipping details. So yeah, he'll definitely ship. Go ahead, Drew.
I was just going to say, ultimately, the answer to Renee's question is yes, we do ship across the big pond. We'll ship worldwide. Might cost a little bit more than what's listed on the website, but those details can be arranged.
Hold on, is Renee talking about the duck pond at Assiniboine Park?
Probably, yes. He lives in the woods. He lives in Assiniboine Forest.
Renee, that's not that far. It's only like a 10-minute drive from my house. I can even deliver your toque or your shirt, whatever.
It's nothing if not considerate, Ezzy. Do you have some winners of some bagels and some other things?
Yes, I do. So the bagels are easy here. I flagged down Michael Rowling because he said he's got to pick up some merchandise soon. So hopefully Michael Rowling is still watching on YouTube or watching on social media. So Michael Rowling, head down to Bagelsmith, 185 Carlton Street, and pick yourself up half a dozen bagels on IC. And for the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment, we're going to give it to...
Hang on, let me hold that thought. Michael, if you have any questions, you can also email Ezra@illegalcurve.com or tweet at him at ICEZG. Get in touch with any of us if you need any clarification.
If you want to know anything, ask me anything. If you want to know something about my childhood, or if you just want to talk about like what our favorite bag of chips are, whatever. And for the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment, we're going to give it to Jeff Case. I know I've seen Jeff in the chat a bunch of times over the last few months. His comment was back at 10:04, so about 16 minutes ago. That's why I have the utmost respect for Fleury. He has been put in a bad spot, getting traded without knowing, and he still shows up every night to compete. I have all day for that. I like that because he's absolutely right. Jeff, we got the comment from Jeff. It was from 10:04, Drew. So I guess
I can't scroll that far back, but the comment's good nonetheless.
But there you go, Jeff. So send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, and we will send you a toque from Tough Duck, even though it's going to be 12 or 13 Celsius tomorrow. It's going to get pretty cold pretty quickly here. It is early November, so congrats.
I don't know about that, Ezzy.
Winner.
Might not be.
There you go. Congratulations to Michael and
El Nino
Jeff.
Dave. Is that what you're talking about here?
I don't want to go to a weather report.
Yeah. The Minuk weather report. I'm not sure if we got that in line just
John
yet.
Sauter over here.
Dave M, I'm putting you on the spot. Do you have some giveaways from our friends at Seagram's, or are you still?
No, not yet. We're still trying to formulate how we're gonna do it. We got to figure out that. So, but there are lots of
issue, Drew. All the Fireball is gone.
Yeah.
You've
been at Dave's house for an hour, and all the Fireball's gone already.
We do have some bourbon for you, though, Drew. You're from Kentucky at this point, so you get the bourbon just by default.
Thank you.
When you leave the kids alone for too long, and something can happen. I left Ezzy downstairs with all the swag. So sadly, 90% of it is being worn currently by Ezzy or has already been used by Ez. But there's lots
I'm loving the Fireball undies.
There's lots of good stuff. There's some T-shirts and some flannel shirts. There's a lot of toques. There's some cups, Moscow Mule. I think they're called Fireball Mules and Seagram's VO and everything like that. So we've got lots of different options and lots of different prizes that can be won. We just got to figure out a way to do it effectively. Go on the Illegal Curve Instagram. You can see I posted a picture of all the different things that you can that we'll have to give away. So lots to give away, and that's kind of the fun of Illegal Curve. We've got lots of great sponsors who want us to give our subscribers and our readers some gear. So we'll have more. We got some T-shirts as well. So lots to give away.
There you go. And speaking of great sponsors, we want to welcome aboard a brand new sponsor of the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. You'll be seeing their ads on the screen very shortly. Rolly's Transfer. Welcome aboard as a great new sponsor of the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Rolly's has been in business here in Winnipeg and in Manitoba for almost 60 years. In fact, I believe this is their 60th anniversary this year. So big thank you to Rolly's Transfer for coming aboard as a sponsor of the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. If you want to become a sponsor, if you know of someone that wants to become a sponsor of the program, all they have to do is send us an email. You can email any of us directly, Drew@illegalcurve.com, Dave@illegalcurve.com, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, or you can always just send an email to advertise@illegalcurve.com. Be like our friends at Rolly's and become a sponsor of the show, as well as all of our existing sponsors: Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Bernstein's Deli, Zappia Group Realty. You saw Frank in the chat earlier tonight. Tough Duck, Bagel Smith, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, and now Rolly's Transfer. So no shortage of great sponsors that make this show a possibility.
Drew, gentlemen, just was going to say, quickly here, I know we're going to wrap up here, and then, everybody should head over and listen to Kenny and Rennie. That's Kenny, and I recently got a haircut, Sean Reynolds. It must be just, so much joy in Joyland for the Zappias, because you've got Frank, who's obviously a huge Jets fan, and you've got the Jets at 6-2-2, and then you've got the Edmonton Oilers, who are first place in the Pacific Division. I think they've only lost one game in regulation, or two games in regulation, right? So Morrow's a big Oilers fan. Shout out to him.
He splits his loyalties a little bit, and
he's also a Jets fan. I should mention that, but he's more of an Oilers fan.
And we've talked tomorrow about this, and it's always a little bit awkward, and we're not really quite sure how to handle that situation. How can you both be a Jets fan and an Oilers fan? And we're working through that with him, so it's a work in progress. But for the time being, yes, we give a salute to Frank and his Jets fandom, and of course Mauro and his Oilers fandom and his Jets fandom as well. On that note, gentlemen, we have to be back at it in about.
Hold on 1 second, just to answer Joe from Winnipeg. Joe, if all the post-game media availability will be on a little site called illegalcurve.com. So the post-game recap is already up. We'll have the I'm going to have the media availabilities as soon as they are available.
We're going to meet Joe from Winnipeg. Like, it's time. Like, Joe from Winnipeg is in the IC Gold Club, so I think it's time that we meet.
We have a Gold Club?
Oh yeah, we have a Gold Club.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's. I mean, Joe is very helpful. I will give him that. He's very helpful. So maybe he is in the Gold Club. I just didn't know we had one.
I didn't know we had one.
Let's go for nachos, Joe, or like a coffee, something. Let's just hang out.
Two very different things, nachos and a coffee. I mean, actually, I could see you both having nachos and a coffee. Is that you could have breakfast nachos? I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, not with a coffee though.
No, with a beer.
Nachos have to be eaten with a beer or Diet Coke. Like, you can't drink like water or orange juice with nachos, Drew. Come on, what is this, amateur hour?
It's certainly something that I think amateur hour is not too far off, but it's certainly something. And on that note, like I said, we're going to be back in about 10 and a half hours tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. back here with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Our guests on the show, I think I saw somebody asking that. We're going to be joined by our good buddy Jason Bell of the Winnipeg Free Press. No word if he's going to be bringing his bird with him, Marty Bell, but we shall find out.
Marty Bird from Ozark.
I know Marty Bird, but you gotta
Marty Bird Bell.
Okay.
Marty Bird Bell. There you go. Marty Bird Bell. So, Jason's going to join us tomorrow. We'll see if there's a bird on his shoulder or not. And of course, about exactly 12 hours from now, our buddy Craig Button is going to come back on the show. We haven't had Craig on since he joined us for all of our NHL draft coverage. So it'll be great to catch up with Craig. You see him during intermissions, often talking to our good friend Sarah Orleski. So we'll have Craig on with us tomorrow. And that'll be at 9 a.m. with the Illegal Curve Hockey Show back here. And then, of course, the Illegal Curve post-game show tomorrow night, right around 8:30, 8:45, somewhere around that point of time. We'll be back to talk about everything to do with the Jets and the New York Islanders.
Dave, do you have any sleeping pills here somewhere? Like, I'm gonna need something. Or
let me tell you, with the way you snore,
coffee, or I don't know.
With the way you snore, it wouldn't be an issue.
That's right. It's the sleep. You never have a problem falling asleep, Mr. Ginsburg. It's everybody else.
It's everybody else around you.
I probably shouldn't be saying this, but the last 2 nights I've been sleeping in the basement because there's been a little bit of an issue with the CPAP. So Naomi's made me sleep. We have a futon in the basement, so it might be 3 nights in a row tonight.
I want to know what the issue is with the CPAP.
Long story short, I had to get a replacement CPAP, but it makes a sound, and my nose has been running. So I think what actually happens is, I'm not even going to get into it. It's just been making sounds. I'm in the doghouse and I sleep in the basement now. That's all you have to know.
But hey, Ezzy, it's better than the van down by the river, so we're good.
He does have a van, and there is a river, so he's.
It's
a good thing we're sponsored by Rolly's Transfer. I might need a moving truck pretty soon, boys.
On that note, thank you to everybody for joining us on this evening's Illegal Curve post-game show. Big thank you to all of our sponsors. I mentioned them before. They really are our key and the lifeblood of making this show a reality. So please support our sponsors because they support Illegal Curve Hockey. As Dave M was gesturing there, smash the like button on your way out if you haven't already done so. If you haven't subscribed to the show, be sure to do that. Get alerted each and every time we go live on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show or the Illegal Curve post-game show. In case you missed any of this, it'll be available for an immediate replay on our YouTube channel. And of course, the podcast will be ready shortly thereafter, so that if you haven't yet subscribed via podcast, do that as well. The Winnipeg Jets victors tonight by a 5-1 margin over the Chicago Blackhawks. For Dave Minuk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mabdell. We'll see you back here in about 10 and a half hours for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Until then, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.